Isaac coming, sorry that I made you wait. Isaac coming, hope and pray I'm not too late. Oh, Mammy, Mammy, I walk a million miles, so one of us might, Isaac coming, sorry that I made you wait. Isaac coming, I hope and pray I'm not too late. Oh,
Well, I was just saying, like, about a month ago, I got this thing forwarded from my parents, because I never, I've never sent my address back to New Haven so they can follow me.
But as far as what Yale did for me, I can't say enough about it. It changed the direction of my life, I'm sure, because I don't care who you are or what you do. It never seems to leave you. It may leave you, and you may go away and forget about it for years. But I am a traveling musician, or a musician who travels. In moving around the world, I constantly run into people who knew me at Yale, and there is this closeness that exists.
I've tried to break away from certain preconceptions and notions and intellectualizations that came with the Yale experience and that I bought without question at that time. And I have tried to break all that down and restructure it. What was it that Claes Oldenburg said? He went through 4 years and didn't remember, 4 years at Yale and didn't remember anything about being there?
Right, it's far out because, like, I don't know. It was like a Disneyland. It was like a crazy time.
I came home one evening.
Everything I do is Yale.
I mean, coming home from the
right?
drive.
I mean, you can see it in me. Like everything I do has to do with being there.
Attach yourself to whatever society.
Yeah,
you
right.
always see society.
Yeah, right.
Very well.
Well, I'm not going back because I can't go 3,000 miles just to drink booze and talk over the old times with guys, or even for their symposium.
What if you were in New York City? Would you go back?
I rather doubt it. It's just there are some people there I'd like to see. But I can see them. I went back to New York in January, and I saw a lot of people that I did want to see. I went back on my first pilgrimage back to New Haven, spent a day there, and saw my former roommate, and
What is it? That's what everybody says, you know. There's some people I'd like to see, and I can see them independent of reunions. So, like, reunions is the perfect.
Oh yeah, well I think the reunions gets to be, you know, this putting the straw boaters on and that whole really fake, forced atmosphere of gaiety and old time chumlum thing. You know, it's really disgusting.
But then we've got to begin to get a real schedule out of them. Definite information about outings, definite information about whatever their plans are, because we do have to start ordering buses, for example. We bus them all, but do they want a tour? We've got to know to hire guides before the kids leave. Are they going to show films or slides so we can get audiovisual to set up projectors and have projectionists? And are they going to have panels or discussion groups that require tape recording and microphones in a special room? Information for posters that we might have to print for them or signs to be made.
People are very different 10 years after they're out of college, or at least they should be. And maybe that's why the idea of a reunion seems depressing, because you have the feeling that the kind of people that would attend it are the kind of people that have not changed in 10 years. And therefore, what would be the point of going and having a reunion with them? Do you know? I mean, I suspect that would be maybe that's the function of a reunion, to return people to an identity which they had in younger years. And if you're unhappy with, if you don't, you know, if you feel that you've changed for the better or for in a more expansive way, then it becomes painful to go back and see perhaps the wasted time that you spent, the years that you could have used to greater advantage, the university which you could have used.
Yeah.
Also, I think it would be interesting if a reunion could utilize many of the techniques for personal encounter and sensitivity training which industry is utilizing now, so that a reunion becomes a real reunion of classmates and a discovery of where each one of them is at, not in a financial way or in a social way, but in a real way.
Could my class undergo or wish to undergo that experience?
Well, that's the question,
Your
you
class,
see.
very well, the class of 64, 5, and so forth, yes, might. But a class of the late 1950s would have no real desire to undergo that kind of confrontation or encounter.
Would you go out of your way to go back if you knew that there was?
Yeah, oh,
going to be that
absolutely,
sort of thing?
absolutely. I would go back if that was to be the quality of the weekend.
And then after that, we have to figure out how many jobs there will be, the number of clerks per class, depending upon our guess as to how many people are going to come back.
Is there some choice based on how what might be beneficial to the alumni to talk, to find out a sense of what the student body is? Because I know that happens a lot. A lot of people do talk to the clerks. It
Well,
makes their impression of...
we keep it in mind very much that they are going to be probably the only current undergraduates that many of them will ever see. You know. And we tell them that in their instructions. We have written clerks' instructions that we give them. And we point out that the Yale undergraduate body as a whole will be judged by many people just on their contact with them. Well, that's in our mind, but we don't, you know, strictly look for blonde-haired, blue-eyed, Anglo-Saxon Dink Stover types by any means. We take any kid, bearded or not, long-haired or not, so long as he's presentable and intelligent and wants the job.
Parker?
Here.
Puryear?
Here.
Rodriguez?
Here.
Rowe? Sauer?
Here.
Schramm? Schramm? Shellaby?
Here.
Seufer?
Here.
Stevenson? Suttle? Suttle? Truman? Walker?
Here.
Weiskel?
Here.
Young?
Here.
Gunderson?
Here.
Travis?
Here.
Anybody I left out? Okay. You all had your assignments. You've all had the clerk's instructions. I hope you have all read them. There are a couple of things, though, that I want to underline. First of all, when you go from here to your headquarters, please check all of the boxes, packages, papers, and instructions that are either in the cash boxes we give you here or in the headquarters so that you know what you have, where it is, try to get it organized, and again, I repeat, read everything. The emergency number, and this is serious emergency, is extension 330, which is the campus police. If anybody hurts themselves, if anything serious takes place, dial 330, give the message to the campus police, and then call here.
Have you ever seen reunions at Yale? Have you ever seen people?
Yes, sure. Yeah, right. We did Tom Jones, one reunion year. That was a musical. Phil was the star of it, and I did the part of the lyrics on it. And yeah, that was my first big college affair, man. We slept in a different bed every night in Berkeley College, and they were all made up for the alumni, right, with the paper shoes and the glass of water and everything like that.
One
we leave
alumni-
notes. The Phantom strikes
One
again.
alumni broke my AM/FM clock radio.
Right.
I'll never forget them.
Or
And now I'm
forgive
one
them.
of them, you know.
Now you're one of them, right.
But that's, see, I mean, that happens if you get through the 4 years, you're an alumni, so there are a lot of people in
This is Yale's youngest alumni, by the way, Chips Perry.
Yes, that's right.
132 years young.
Class of '62.
And you ought not to have gone,
That's
Chips. All right. What do you think about letting women into Yale?
I think we should let women. Rent them if
If possible, right? No, I've never been to a reunion. I don't know if I'll ever go to one, probably when they give me an honorary degree. They will, because, yeah, they will. They'll give us an honorary degree for being funny. Yeah, they will. There's going to be probably the law school.
Will give us a degree
Yeah,
for
for being funny.
funny. Depending on what degree we are.
Yeah,
funny.
how funny you were.
Yes, to what degree you can be funny. No, it is, I mean, like, could Ian Underhill
Underwood.
return to Yale for a reunion? Wouldn't it be interesting? I mean, he's now playing with the Mothers of Invention.
And he's got hair down to here.
Yeah, that's
Right.
the sort of thing that intrigues me.
And sure, he could go back, because that's a beautiful thing about Yale, is that it is the strongest family that I know, educational family. Like, once you get into Yale, man, they do anything they can not to let you get out. You know, that's groovy. Like, money, whatever you need,
Yeah, as a matter of
girls,
fact,
anything.
it's an interesting thing.
Yeah, anybody, any Yale could go back, even into any Yale club, regardless of how uptight they were, even the New York Yale club, you know, and walk
You ever
in.
been in New York yet?
No, but I've never wanted. Yes, once I was in there once with Professor Bakke when I was teaching at Yale. I was there once. It was very nice. I mean, I dig it, man. I'm a real Yalie. I dig it out of sight, and I know that if I went anywhere, I could call anybody at the Yale Club of Los Angeles right now. If, for example, I was in trouble, I could call them. They give me help. I know they would.
Well,
They
it's
wouldn't
true.
turn down Yale men.
And that's the same
They're
philosophy
incredible.
that you find in the senior societies as well, which is obviously, you know, an expression of that, even in a more closer sense.
That's a group. That's very important. You've got to know who your family are. You've got to know where you can go for help if you need it, and you've got to give help. I haven't given any money to Yale since I've gotten out, simply because I'm not at the point in my life yet where I'm thinking in those terms. I will. I know quite well I'm going to make an awful lot of money. And when I do, I'm going to give a healthy percentage of it to Yale, or whatever it is that's called Yale by the time it gets there, you know, like, or something like it that fulfills the same thing, because they are my family, and they educated me.
The reunion classes give over half of the alumni fund gift each year, more than 55%. It's going to be over $4 million this year. Let's see that they enjoy themselves. Very low, very close. Okay, just get the thing. Look out now. You want to play? Are you ready? All right, boys. 1, 2.
I'm supposed to do is to somehow explain to you all how Afro-American Studies happened at Yale. And I've decided that before I can do that, I'll probably have to try to explain some other things, some larger social sorts of problems, to begin to give you some idea of the context in which Afro-American Studies at Yale happened. The first thing that I guess needs to be understood is that black students and the other question of black studies are two of the most important problems facing the American university today. They're important problems because the question of how to solve them is probably the greatest challenge yet faced by these particular groups of university to their claims of universality. They're being asked, quite frankly, to defend their claim of objectivity, to defend their claims that we learn for the sake of learning, and at the same time to change, to accept the fact that there are things that they haven't done. And the ability, or at least, yes, their ability to change and to accept these things will in many ways decide the fate of universities in this country.
We had a very interesting class dinner last night where we had a guest who was a representative of Harvard 1919. He presented a shirt that the Harvard boys wear when sitting on the bench in a football game, waiting to go in the game, to our classmate Ned Gayard, who 50 years ago was taken up to Cambridge with the idea that he'd be put in the game between Yale and Harvard in 1919 to win his Y. But somebody had sent Gayard up into the stands to spot plays, and when they called his name, he wasn't there, so he never got in the game. And he didn't win his Y. And I related this story to Harvard 1919 last fall after the Yale-Harvard game when we met with them. And they took up the cudgels, and Hatch wrote a ballad which he sent to Kingman Brewster, and Harvard 1919 really pushed for this Y for Gayard. And yesterday afternoon, Mr. Brewster turned up and presented a framed thing with Hatch's ballad on one side and a sort of reply ballad by Mr. Brewster himself on the other side, and a great Y in the middle. I'm sorry Gayard isn't in sight because he's got it here and you could see it. But the two ballads are very amusing and very interesting. That's the sort of thing that keeps old men like us happy, you know. Yeah.
Your own.
How are you?
Mr. Rich Patterson.
Right.
Good Lord.
We're making a film together.
What'd you do to this guy?
The Army did this. The Army.
You couldn't take it?
No, I took it for so long, and then I had to do something.
The same Rich Patterson is from Texas and Alabama. Calhoun College, the whole bit. You lost at least, what, 25 pounds or since I've seen you?
Maybe, I don't know.
I thought, are you married? Yeah. I heard you were married. Yeah.
What are you up to?
I'm at University of Virginia Law School. I've got 2 years to go there. I spent 4 years in the Marine Corps before I did that.
in Vietnam?
Yeah, I was there for 13 months. Long time ago, 3 years ago, 65, 66. Did they ever get you in the Navy?
They never did, no. I finally got papers that said I was all through and out.
Is that right? Yeah.
Never quite in.
You saw Mike Austin, I guess.
Yeah, we did.
Yeah.
Met his wife and stuff like that.
Yeah.
You go ahead.
No, please go ahead.
Okay, the fantastic thing to me about seeing a reunion like this is to realize that there are still 200 guys in the class of 1964. Out of 200 of us, there isn't one black guy here tonight. There isn't anybody with hair over his collar, except your cameraman. There isn't anybody
Wait a minute,
with
Dad.
a wife.
I've got a couple of strands.
This is a very square group that's here tonight because the people who tend to come to reunions are not the people who, you know, enjoy thinking for themselves. They're the people who like to drink with the boys and stand under a tent. They don't care if they're seeing the stars or not. They want to see the booze in front of them. That's all.
That's not completely.
That's the essence of a reunion.
So maybe reunions ought to be different to get those people.
I mean, I don't really believe that, but I want my quote to get on the film.
You want that superficial quote to get it.
That's right.
Those who really enjoy thinking for themselves.
That's what gets onto a film, you know, the things that
They don't wander.
summarize a
They
point.
don't wander into documentary. You know, they don't bare their souls on the documentary films.
Honestly,
a little more radical and we'll
this is
Yeah, a little
incredible.
more radical.
It's a terribly square,
a little more
this
witty.
is a very square group that has absolutely no leftist tendencies that I can see.
Dark currents don't
We're
make
so
it.
much out of the mainstream of the left-wing liberal student syndrome in America. It's fantastic, and we're only 5 years out of college, you know, but we're like 50 years out when you look at our politics and the length of our hair. I believe that. I'm beginning to feel it when I think that I'm part of this complex of squares. I really begin to feel old. Honest.
For a little while. We'll be back in about 20 minutes. Then we'll go out again. If you need me for anything at all, any kind of a question, call 727 and ask him to beat Mr. Greenfield on 94. 94. Beat Mr.
Yes,
Greenfield
this
on
is
94.
the Class Reunion Bureau calling. Mr. Greenfield would like a car at 8:30, please, instead of 9:30. Yes, and if you could have the driver have a gun.
Because Wilbur
Yes.
can't come with us.
Okay? 8:30? Fine. Bye.
Ma'am, we're going to Silverman headquarters.
Okay, 94.
Tell him to meet me here at 10 o'clock.
Mr. Sleepy Hall again. Quiet, please.
silence still pass by. But oh, fortunata, I'll take you, beata. Oh, hear the mystic call of Beta Psi. Says I wake, wake, bright blood, wake, wake, where souls place the sky.
You know, I really don't buy the university system, you know. I think that Yale teaches bad ideas. The course content sucks.
What are you doing here? Why are you here?
I'm in a student movement.
The
How much
average
is it
income
in
of,
India? How
Let's
much
talk
is
about
it
the
in
United States.
Well, what's the difference?
There's
Let's
plenty
talk
of difference. We have a system in the United States that's been constructed on and in a past history that includes, one, the genocide of the American Indians, the forcible occupation of an entire continent,
Oh, brother, where'd you go to
imperialist
school?
wars.
Now, are they going to go out to try and structure to achieve something, or are they going to go out to get a change? Structure to achieve something is one thing. To get a change is an entirely different.
My conclusion now, being in your position, is that this university is going to have to take an active role in bringing about social change in this country, all within a very short time. The time for bringing about any kind of change just isn't going to exist, and you won't have that luxury of talking about it.
We never thought we could raise $1 million.
Jesus.
It's a lot of love, man. And we don't want anybody like you killing it. We don't mind change, and we bend a great deal with the times, take girls in and that sort of thing. But we don't want to see the school ruined.
I was going to mention that. There was a fire last night which gutted the top 3 floors of the School of Art and Architecture. It apparently started at about 3:58 and was put out in about 45 minutes. My impression is that very little damage was done to the library or to offices that contained important records, and that, of course, is very fortunate because an enormous amount of water was contained on various floors in the effort to put out the fire. But the water damage was nowhere near as great as it might be. The real danger was structural because of the amount of water contained on some floors was estimated to have come within a very near margin of the structural capacity of the floor, but there was no collapsing of the building from excessive water. Obviously, the fire marshal will make us a report on the fire, including possible origins, if they can be determined, but we know absolutely nothing about that.
Davenport, Alan P. Clark, Edward M. O'Brien, Stanley W. Holmes, J. Canoyer, Edwin L. Schofield, Thomas C. Eastman, Stephen T. Kelsey, Clarence S. Bonfoy.
Where did you roam in your sophomore year? Were you in Durfee?
I was with Alex Finney and Lawrence Staples and Pearson. Old Pearson.
That's freshman.
Yeah.
Then I was on the second floor. You were on the fifth floor.
I guess so. I remember a long ways up.
Remember Herb Mooney?
What were you, Earl?
Top floor. You remember Herb Mooney?
Yeah.
Well, I hope he'd be back, but he isn't. But he was a great person.
Frank A. Asman, James A. Gladden, Edward N. C. Burnett, Donald B. Graham,
for power, for wealth, for family, for many other things that are important to them. But there's one ambition that we all have, and that is, as the famous psychologist August Frankl expressed it, an ambition to get some meaning out of life.
Morgan Porter,
And I want to say that as far as I'm concerned,
Raymond
I got knowing other people and communicating with them at Yale College.
Robert
I ever
J. First,
when I was a boy before
William
coming
E.
here.
Smith, Owen M. Sandiford, and Andrew M. Avery. That completes the list of 47 who have died since our last reunion.
But I've been surprised at how many faces come back to me after 20 years. People that sat in this row or that of the classroom. I think it's a very charming gesture of the class to invite some of the faculty people back, and it's nice for the faculty people most of all.
The film we're doing is like reunions, and one of the main things we're trying to do is get a sense of the reunions, you know, how they exist.
Yes, yes.
And I don't know if you have any feelings in that direction or not.
No, not any worth recording at all. You'll do better with other people. You see, I'm not a Yale man, really. I came here quite late in 1947 without any Yale degrees at all. And so I have definitely an outsider's viewpoint, though I found Yale very warm and friendly, and I feel very close to Yale. On the other hand, what it feels like to have been an undergraduate here is something completely out of my ken. But I've always admired the way in which a school like Yale, a university like Yale, takes care of its alumni, and the way most of all that the alumni really feel that there is a special relation to the university. This is something rather special. I think you could go over a great deal of the country and not find anything like it.
Well, I think my impressions of reunion are really probably different from others, because I find a generation gap for me is still up towards my parents rather than down with the people who are my children and the people going to Yale today. So I really don't come back full of nostalgia. I come back full of interest, you know, to see what the hell are other people thinking, what's happening. I don't expect all the ivy on the wall to be especially greened up for me.
Yeah.
So that I really just enjoy meeting the people, and I'm bored with some of them, and then I'm fascinated by others. And the hard thing to do is to break into the one-to-one, you know, to get through the chit-chat, to get through the bullshit about, well, how are you, you know, and outside insurance business, and find out what the guy is actually thinking. And and I guess also I'm surprised. I have come to the conclusion, I guess in the last 4 or 5 years, as a result of working in Washington, that brains were not as important as I always thought. I was a junior 5'8" and a pretty smart-ass kid. And it doesn't always work. Many times the people with the best brains are so busy destroying themselves or turning inside themselves that they can't handle the problems, and somebody with a little give and take can. So I'm really fascinated I haven't been back for 20 years, at looking to see how he's changed and he's changed. Sometimes I'm bored. It's a human experience.
Do you find it fairly predictable or no? I mean,
no. The exciting moments aren't predictable. Yeah, 50% is reasonably predictable, and then you get surprises both ways.
Dick? Yeah. I think I'd be surprised at how unpredictable it is somehow. You know?
Well, yeah, but the good people, I guess my experience in life is that human beings aren't predictable in the individual. In the mass, they are. All men get up in the morning and go to bed at night. Here comes the night watchman.
Some really interesting accomplishments that my classmates had. I think after this reunion is all over, although, of course, as I said, this is the first one I've been to and don't know exactly what to expect, but I really think at this point that the most interesting part of it all, in retrospect, will be what I've learned about the achievements of many of my classmates.
Yeah, it's the first one.
First one. It's the first one for a good number of us. I've been checking with other people, and
Are you sad about having missed the rest?
no, I think basically quite positive. I haven't heard too much negative abuse at all. Not about the reunion itself. You hear a little negative comment about things going co-educational and this sort of thing. But as far as the getting together and all, it's very, very positive, it seems. She thinks the food is quite tremendous.
Have you seen our food? The food is fabulous, really. I've never eaten so much and enjoyed it so much as here. Really, you couldn't have better food. It's been everyone has been friendly and, really, you heard about our $1 million gift, haven't you?
I think a lot of people have felt that if everything had just been tranquil and nothing was going on, they wouldn't have come back. But with all
I've
this
read
going on,
and heard a great deal. I wanted some first-hand information as to what's going on at Yale now. And one of the things I wanted to know was what do the people at this panel have to say about the Yale student today? I also wanted to see whether I looked old, average, or young in my group. I also wanted to be here because I haven't been here in so long. I have a lot of reasons for being here, but I made some very big changes in my activities to be here. I've got to be here.
I'm on the air? Mm-hmm. Well, I came back because I was down at Keeneland Racetrack and I had a little filly down there and won a little money on the filly. And by God, Jeff Wiedemann put a $2 bet on it and it paid 12 to 1. And then he picked the second ticket up and won the daily double. And Wiedemann won about $300 on the daily double.
Fine. Okay, and that's why you came back.
That's right.
That financed the tie.
To collect money from Wiedemann that I gave him a tip on.
They love, yeah.
They like you.
They love each other.
Nice place. Some of them are seeing friends they haven't seen in years. I do know that. Because I keep meeting them.
You got it on? I think they can shove them up their asses. That's what I think of reunions. I've had it with them. I don't think I'll come back for mine.
Really?
Really.
Anytime it really takes off.
It's a lot of work. It's a lot of money that's being spent on a bunch of people that should be spending their money and their time and a lot of other things.
But it's their money, isn't it?
No, it's not. It's the people's money.
But they're part of the people. I mean, the money comes out of their...
They're the group of people that are going to be eliminated when the revolution comes.
Are you giving more hats?
May I have your brief attention, please, as the unbelievably dramatic grand finale to what I think we can all agree has been a most pleasant occasion. We are pleased to announce that, barring excessive wind currents, we hope to have fairly shortly a genuine balloon ascension by Professor MacArthur, who in his huge helium-filled 15-foot balloon will lift from the quadrangle of Silliman into the skies of New Haven.
Gentlemen songsters off on a spree.